Good day, grade 10 students. You're still listening to 104.4 Campus Radio. Today, we will discuss a new topic in music. Be sure that you have with you your pen and paper as we go on along our lesson. If you have questions or clarifications, do not hesitate to message me through my messenger account or in our group chat. You can text or call me in 0955-672-5122. Again, 0955-672-5122. We will begin our new lesson after some reminders. And now we're back. Nakikinig pa ba kayo dyan? If you're still listening, pasend naman ng heart sa ating group chat. Today, we will deal with contemporary Philippine music. According to national artist Ramon Santos, contemporary music in the Philippines refers to compositions that have adopted ideas and elements from 20th century art music in the West, as well as the latest trends and musical styles in the entertainment industry. The modern Filipino repertoire consists of musical pieces that have been written in 20th century idioms that have evolved out of such stylistic movements as Impressionism, Expressionism, Neoclassicism, as well as avant-garde and new music. With Spain and then America having colonized the Philippines, it was unavoidable that Western compositional techniques found their way into the works of Filipino composers. Yet, even 20th century Filipino composers have managed to retain some traditional elements in their assimilation of Western techniques. In fact, they have become the strongest foundations of what we now know as Philippine music. There are several composers who found their way into Philippine compositions. One of them is Francisco Buencamino, who founded the Centro Escolar de Señoritas Conservatory of Music. He also created the Buencamino Music Academy in 1930. Nicanor Abelardo was one of his students. Expanding his career, Buencamino also ventured into musical direction and scoring, composing for Sampaguita Pictures, LVN, and Excelsior. He also wrote several zarzuelas and kundiman. Now, may we listen to an excerpt from Buencamino's song, Larawan. And that is an excerpt from Buencamino's song, Larawan. Another talented composer is Nicanor Abelardo. Abelardo developed a style that combined European Romanticism with Chromaticism. He belongs to the triumvirate of Filipino composers together with Francisco Santiago and Antonio Molina. The Tanghalang Nicanor Abelardo of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the Abelardo Hall of the College of Music, University of the Philippines are named after him. His best-known compositions include Mutya ng Pasig, Nasaan Ka Irog, Cavatina for Violoncello, and Magbalik Kahirang. Now, we'll listen to an excerpt from Abelardo's Mutya ng Pasig. You just listen to an excerpt from Abelardo's Mutya ng Pasig. Another composer who is also a part of the triumvirate of Filipino composers is Francisco Santiago, who is also known as the father of kundiman. He finished his music specialization at the American Conservatory of Music in Chicago, where he obtained his doctorate degree in 1924. Santiago's music was romantic in style, incorporating Western forms and techniques with folk materials. He composed several works such as kundiman, symphonies, piano concertos, and other music pieces for the piano, violin, and voice. Among his famous works are Pakiusap, Madaling Araw, Sakali Man, Hibik ng Pilipinas, Ano Kaya ang Kapalaran, and Kundiman Anak Dalita. He was also a musical director for films. Among the films whose music he supervised were Kundiman, Leron Leron Sinta, Madaling Araw, Manilenya, and the movie inspired by his own composition, Pakiusap. He is the first Filipino director of the University of the Philippines Conservatory of Music. Here is an excerpt from Santiago's Pakiusap. You just listened to an excerpt from Santiago's Pakiusap. Okay pa ba kayo? Brace yourselves as we go on with our next composer. Antonio Molina is also part of the triumvirate of Filipino composers, which includes Nicanor Abelardo and Francisco Santiago. He began his music career as an orchestral soloist at the Manila Grand Opera House. He served as Dean of the Centro Escolar University of Music from 1948 to 1970. He was also a faculty member of the University of the Philippines Conservatory of Music. Molina was a product of both the Romantic and Impressionist schools of thought. He was fascinated by the dynamics and harmonies of Debussy, but retained much of the Romantic style in his melody. A characteristically Impressionist work is his piano work, Malikmata. The mysteriously exotic chords of this piece gradually lead to a lyrical melody with the traditional harmonies abruptly returning to the initial mood. Molina wrote several compositions for piano, violin, and voice, as well as a Spanish-style opera form known as the zarzuela. He is best known for his poignantly romantic serenade for violin and piano, Hating Gabi. Other works by Molina include orchestral music like Misa Antoniana Grand Festival Mass, Ang Batingaw, Kundiman Kundangan. For chamber music, string quartet, Kung Sa Iyong Gunita, and Pandangguhan. And for vocal music, Amihan, Awit ni Maria Clara, and Larawan Nitong Pilipinas. He received the National Artist for Music Award in 1973. He passed away on January 29, 1980. Here is an excerpt from Molina's Hating Gabi. You just listened to Hating Gabi by Antonio Molina. Nandyan pa ba kayo? Pasend naman ng heart kung kayo nakikinig pa. To continue our discussion, may we welcome another composer. He is Hilarion Rubio. Rubio is a composer, music teacher, conductor, and clarinetist. He created substantial works for orchestra. He served as conductor for opera, ballet, dance recitals, and movie music. During the Second World War, Rubio composed and arranged many works and conducted many military and civilian brass bands. After the war, he was appointed conductor of the Manila Municipal Symphony Orchestra. He held various positions, including as Vice President of the PASAMBAP or Pambansang Samahan ng mga Banda sa Pilipinas, the National Band Association, Board and Charter Member of the League of Filipino Composers, and the first President of Philippine Band Masters Association. He was a conductor of the National Opera Company for 23 years from 1937 to 1960. Rubio's compositions include Bulaklaken, Theme and Variations for Band, Dance of the Nymphs Rondo, Florante at Laura, Halik, Danza, Unang Katas, Two-Part Invention, Ang Konsyerto, Ang Magsasaka, Filipinas Kong Mahal, To the Filipino Youth, and many more. He passed away on December 28, 1985. Let us hear an excerpt from Rubio's Pilipinas Kong Mahal.
Ang langit mo'y papantayan, Pilipinas kong hirang.
You just listened to Rubio's song Pilipinas Kong Mahal. Another talented composer is Colonel Antonino Ramirez Buenaventura. Buenaventura was a renowned composer, conductor, and teacher. He was actively involved with the various military bands, which ultimately earned him his rank of colonel. He was a music instructor and band conductor of the Philippine Military Academy. Later, he restored the Philippine Constabulary Band in 1945, which was reputedly likened to a symphony orchestra. It was considered as the one of the best military bands in the world. It would later be renamed the Philippine Army Band. He also founded the San Pablo Music Academy in Laguna. Buenaventura was a faculty member of the UP Conservatory of Music. Later, he became the music director of the Conservatory of Music, University of Santo Tomas in 1961. After retiring from the military, he became the music director at the School of Music and Arts of University of the East in 1964. He promoted Philippine music through his extensive use of folk materials, which he had recorded around the country with Ramon Tolentino and national artist for dance Francisca Reyes Aquino. Buenaventura composed the music and folk dance notations for the dance researches of Divertimento for Piano and Orchestra, Variations and Fugues, and Greetings based on Philippine folk music. Pandango sa Ilaw, one of his most popular compositions, remains a favorite performance repertoire of many folk dance companies. He was declared National Artist for Music in 1988 and passed away in 1996. Here is an excerpt from Buenaventura's famous Pandango sa Ilaw. What a lovely music! Nagustuhan nyo rin ba? Pasend naman ng thumbs up sa ating group chat kung nagustuhan nyo ang awiting ito. Wow! Mukhang marami sa inyo ang naaaliw sa mga awiting ating ibinabahagi. Our next composer is Rodolfo S. Cornejo. Cornejo graduated with a teacher's diploma in pianoforte and a teacher's diploma in science and composition at the Conservatory of Music, University of the Philippines in 1930. He received his Bachelor of Music degree, major in piano and theory, from the Chicago Musical College of Roosevelt University in the United States of America in 1932. He received a Master of Music degree, major in composition and conducting at the Chicago Musical College of Roosevelt University in the USA in 1933. He was conferred a Doctor of Music honoris causa in 1954. He received his Doctor of Philosophy, major in composition from the Newtarian College of Philosophy in Kansas City, USA in 1947. Cornejo was also known for his extemporaneous thematic improvisations based on the letters of people's names. His compositional output includes A la Juventud Filipina, Bailes de Ayer, Caprice on a Folk Song, Cello Sonata, Ibong Adarna, Kandingan, Malakas at Maganda, Overture, Okaka, Oriental Fantasy, Ibong Adarna, Piano Concerto Numbers 1, 2, 3, To Be, and the Song of the Minors. He passed away on August 11, 1991. Here is an excerpt from Cornejo's Ibong Adarna. Wow! What a beautiful composition from Cornejo. Another composer that also has extravagant compositions is Felipe Padilla de Leon. He graduated with a music teacher's diploma, major in conducting in 1939. Much later, he took advanced studies in composition under Vittoro Giannini of the Juilliard School of Music in New York, USA. De Leon received many awards such as Composer of the Year in 1949, Manila Music Lovers Society Musician of the Year in 1958, UP Conservatory of Music, and others. He was conferred an honorary degree, Doctor of Philosophy in the Humanities by University of the Philippines in 1991. De Leon wrote piano compositions, hymns, marches, art songs, chamber music, symphonic poems, overtures, band music, school songs, orchestral works, operas, kundiman, and zarzuelas. He was known as a national composer who expressed the Philippines' cultural identity through his compositions. Two operas which are considered his masterpieces are The Noli Me Tangere in 1957 and El Filibusterismo in 1970. These two operas have been staged in the Philippines and abroad. He also wrote a march during the Japanese regime entitled Tindig, Aking Inang Bayan, and another march, Bagong Lipunan, during the martial law. He wrote the popular Christmas carols Payapang Daigdig in 1946, Noche Buena, and Pasko na naman both in 1965. Felipe de Leon received a posthumous award as National Artist for Music in 1997. He died on December 5, 1992. Let us hear an excerpt from De Leon's Christmas carol, Payapang Daigdig.
Ang gabi payapa, lahat ay tahimik, pati mga tala sa bukaw na langit.
December na ba? Ang aga namang Christmas carol nun. Well, that song is from a great composer, Felipe de Leon. We also have the romantic nationalist, Lucio San Pedro. San Pedro incorporated Philippine folk elements in his compositions with Western forms and harmony. His chords have a rich, expressive tonality as represented in his well-loved Sa Ugoy ng Duyan, a lullaby melody sung by his mother. His orchestral compositions are best represented by Suite Pastoral in 1956, a poetic aural description of his hometown, Angono, and his nationalistic symphonic poem, Lahing Kayumanggi in 1962. He was declared National Artist for Music in 1991. Let us hear an excerpt of San Pedro's Sa Ugoy ng Duyan.
Sana'y di nagmaliw ang dati kong araw, nang munti pang bata sa piling ni nanay.
Nakaka-touch naman yon. Nagustuhan nyo ba ang awiting aming inihandog? Pasend naman ng heart kung nagustuhan nyo ito. I am very sure that you are still enjoying our lesson. So let us now know about our next composer. He is Rosendo E. Santos Jr. Santos was awarded the Philippine Composer of the Century after receiving the Composer of the Year award. He joined the faculty at Wilkes University, Pennsylvania in 1968. He performed as timpanist, pianist, and conductor with several orchestral groups. He conducted church choirs in Maryland, New Jersey, Lehman, Huntsville, and Shavertown United Methodist Churches in Pennsylvania, USA. He composed the background music for J. Arthur Rock films at Pinewood Studios in London, England, where he worked with British composers Malcolm Arnold and Weir Mathison. A prolific composer, he had composed several piano concerti, sonatas, symphonies, symphonic poems, 5 operas in Filipino, numerous band overtures, and more than 200 marches. He had also written 50 masses in Latin and 20 in English. He has more than 1,000 musical compositions in the library of the University of the Philippines. Santos' last musical work and only ballet composition, Melinda's Masquerade, was performed in 1995, a year after his death. Here is an excerpt from Rosendo's Portrait of an Artist. You just listened to an excerpt from Santos' Portrait of an Artist. Another remarkable composer is Dr. Alfredo Buenaventura. Buenaventura's compositional style rests mainly on his own set of musical ideas, wherein he creates a combination of contemporary and conventional materials. He keeps his melodies simple and understandable, but with contemporary harmonies that enhance their complexity. He became an official organist of the Manila Cathedral in 1960. He became the Dean of the College of Music, Centro Escolar University. He is a member of the League of Filipino Composers. He received a number of awards in the music industry. He was twice an awardee of the Republic Cultural Heritage Award and the Outstanding Filipino Award for Music in 1995. Some of his works include the operas Maria Makiling in 1961, Diego Silang in 1966, Prinsesa Urduha in 1969, Kantatas Ang Ating Watawat in 1965, Pasko ng Barangay, and Rizal, the Great Malayan Antagonist in 1990, and many more. His minor works, numbering more than 50, covers mostly religious songs and hymns for specific celebrations such as the 16th centenary of St. Augustine, Mass for the 400th year of the Augustinian Recollect, and the Philippine Music Festival. His other creative musical works have been commissioned by the Cultural Center of the Philippines, Metropolitan Theater, and the National Music Competitions for Young Artists. Here is an excerpt from Buenaventura's Lakambini. You just listened to an excerpt from Buenaventura's Lakambini. And we are down to our last composer for the day. He is a popular contemporary composer who also has a classical composition to his credit, such as Misa and Te Deum. He is Raimundo Ryan Cayabyab. Among his numerous compositions are the award-winning Kay Ganda ng Ating Musika, as well as the modern zarzuela Alikabok in 2003, the opera Ispolarium with libretto by Fides Cuyugan Asensio, and a variety of choral pieces and song cycles. He also produced a number of recordings, including the memorable album 1, where he personally sang the unaccompanied songs on different tracks to produce 16 voices. He obtained his Bachelor of Music degree at the University of the Philippines College of Music, after which he became a faculty member for composition at the same university. He also served as the executive and artistic director of the San Miguel Foundation for the Performing Arts. At present, he continues to be a much sought-after professor, musical director, composer, arranger, and conductor in the Philippine concert and recording scenes. Here is an excerpt from Kaya Biag's Kay Ganda ng Ating Musika. To sum it up, we discussed 12 different composers, and 3 of them belongs to the triumvirate of the Filipino composers. And they are Francisco Santiago, Nicanor Abelardo, and Antonio Molina. With the European and American influences brought by our colonizers, it was inevitable that the musical styles of the 20th century Western composers found their way into Philippine compositions. In your activity sheets, you are tasked to point out the characteristics of the above-mentioned Filipino composers. Your activity sheets will be submitted through Messenger, and to those who do not have gadgets or cell phones, you can submit it together with your self-learning modules, of course, signed by your guardians. And that ends our discussion for this session. I hope that you learned something new today. If you have questions or clarifications, do not hesitate to contact me through Messenger, or you can also text or call me in my cell phone number 0955-672-5122. Again, it's 0955-672-5122. Again, this is Teacher Abby, and see you on our next episode. Stay safe! Among Santos' teachers were famous composers Aaron Copland, Irving Fine, Humphrey Sear, and conductor Norman Del Mar.